He walks over to the door, looks out as Billy's running up the stairs and goes, "Shut up, you moron!" And then you hear as he runs up the rest of the stairs.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are tuning in from. This is the BS Buddies Podcast. I'm your host, Joe. That is your host, Ian. And today, we got some cleaning stories. Mostly funny, I would say. We're not going to talk about our
exciting topic in the entire world that we could have possibly picked. Cleaning stories.
Yes. But before you click away, they're more funny stories. Like, we don't have our best methods of cleaning. No, we're both, well, I'm 26, he's 27. We probably don't clean a whole lot.
If you mix a little bit of dish soap with your detergent before you throw it in the washes, it's going to turn into an old grandma's channel where we just give life tips about life hacks that we've learned over the years, which ironically would actually be very handy, honestly. We should probably look into doing that.
Yeah, probably. Ian, would you like to go first or would you like me to start off?
I would like to know, because you've had my curiosity piqued with this story. So please, by all means, Joe, take it away.
Okay. All Ian knows is I have a cleaning story and that I was having a bad day that tried to be a good day but ended up being a worse day from cleaning. So, it was last year during, I think it was like February. I know there was snow on the ground. It was colder outside. This is going to help for context for the story. So I went to work and I was just having a bad day. At this point, I wasn't having a good time at work with what I was doing. Not that work, you should always have a great time, obviously. But for me, I was just really despising what I was doing for work at this particular time. And I was just having an off day on top of that. Like, work was making me upset. Some other life stuff was making me upset. And I told my now fiancé about this when it was happening. And just one of the worst days I was having. I clock out. I go to my car and then I start leaving work and I get a call from her. And she's like, "Hey, I tried cleaning up the bathroom and so you could come home, take a nice warm bath, but it smells really bad in here all of a sudden." So I'm like, "Okay."
Oh no.
So
Oh no.
she was kind of explaining what she did, and I'll get into it in a second, but I was really mad after, because now it's like I just got done with work when I was really upset. Now I have to go home and solve this problem, whatever happened. And I come home, and it just reeks. Like, it smells... I would say it smelled like you put your head in a swimming pool and just sniffed all like the chlorine and all the pool chemicals. And I was like, what did you use? Like, what happened here?
Why does the house have the odors of ammonia? I can see the trenches of World War I looking at me from the corner. There's a gas mask hanging off the vacuum. You've turned our house into France in 1918. What have you done?
That's one way to put it, but yeah, it was bad. So she told me, and you might not know this, I learned this that day. She said she cleaned the tub with CLR and bleach. That's what she used. Okay? What's that noise for?
That's just, no, continue.
Okay.
Continue.
Just wanted to make sure.
For CLR, right? That's what you said was the first chemical CLR?
CLR.
For anyone out there who might not know what CLR is for, typically you use it when you have a lot of hard water buildup on your shower heads. Yes, I'm turning into this into the hardware hour for all you youngins out there. If your shower head has too much calcium deposit from your hard water, you unscrew it, leave it in a bucket of CLR for a while, and it eats away all the hard water, and you put it back out there. So just to give you an idea of the chemical potency of what CLR is. Continue.
So I looked it up, and CLR and bleach are not supposed to be used together in cleaning at all. Because you know what happens when that happens? You
Mustard gas.
create chlorine gas in your own home. So if you want to create chlorine gas, mix the two together.
Ooh, you know, that is on the same level as that King of the Hill skit where they're getting into bed and he's like, Peggy, what did you tell them to do? And she's like, well, I told them to combine the cleaning power of bleach with the shining power of ammonia. You told people to mix bleach and ammonia? Peggy, that's the recipe for mustard gas.
Uh,
I'm
so,
sorry. I'm gonna apologize, but I had to throw that one out there because that's the first scene that popped into my mind.
so when I get home, I look that up, and then I get to call poison control. First time I'd ever called it, and it was on a terrible day. And the lady was super nice, by the way. I'm like, hey, it smells awful in the bathroom. We mix CLR and bleach. Like, what do we got to do? And she just kind of brushed it off. She's like, don't worry. A lot of people do this because they don't know. And
I, I don't know what's worse, the fact that she had a response ready to go, or the fact that so many people have done it often enough that she warrants having a response ready to go.
yeah,
Oh.
she was very nice in that regard. She's like, don't feel bad. People do it all the time. Uh, but she had said, like, just let it air out for 10, 15 minutes and you should be good. And that's where the where the snow comes in, because it was like February. So we opened up the windows, got fans going to blow it out, and it was freezing. And we have cats who are wondering what's going on, so we gotta wrangle them somewhere else so they don't stay in the bathroom because they're too curious. And she said it would clear out in 10 to 15 minutes, and it was like a half hour to an hour until it finally subsided
Finally,
enough.
all it dissipated.
And for those of you wondering, I took a bath like 3 hours after that because I wanted to be safe. But the
Wanted to
bath
make
was clean.
it was you walk in there and it sparkled. It looked brand new like the day that tub was cast. He just Oh
And
man. I can't imagine like just like if neither of you, like you walk through the door, right? You get home and you're like, man, kind of a weird smell in the air. Oh, hi, honey, I'm home from work. I'm gonna go take a shower. It's like, oh, I cleaned the tub for you. It should be great in there. Be like, oh, that's wonderful. And then you walk into like the bathroom, you set your clothes in there, whatever, and then you come back. Hey, honey, can I ask you a question? Your eyes feel itchy. Does your skin feel tingly at all? I haven't like I walk in and out of the bathroom and I get this feeling like a Geiger counter somewhere just off the charts and I don't know what's causing that feeling. Did you do anything? No idea what it could be. Just, completely over your head oblivious as to what's going on. Oh.
I want to let you know there was no way in that situation you would be like, "Oh, like my eyes are tingly." Like you walk in, you get punched in the nose with the smell of chlorine. Like there
Uh,
is it's like you open the door, smell it, you turn and it's like, "What'd you do to the bathroom?"
Man, are we hosting a pool party in here? What?
I do want to let you guys know my fiance said that I I was okay to tell the story. I, just so you guys know. Um, but yeah, it was one of those things where you're having an awful day, but at the end of like the phone call and knowing that we were gonna be all right, I'm like, it's the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts. She
Thought that
wanted to
cat.
do something nice. She went over the top to make sure it would happen, but the gas went a little too over the top.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you went over above and beyond the call of duty to give you a clean shower. The problem is she went so above and beyond, she accidentally recreated the trench lines of the Great War in your bathroom. So
Ah. But that's really the end of my
the,
story.
the, well, the good
Um,
news is that nobody was hurt or otherwise other bad things happened. So thankfully, that was the end result.
yeah,
So
and
we can all
thankfully
joke
we're
about this
we're not
now.
the only people who do that because it sounds like people call poison control a lot because they do this. So don't mix CLR and bleach. Use one or the other.
Pick
But
one, not both.
Ian has some cleaning stories as well from his time in the Marines, which at least mine I could air out and it'd be okay. His,
I could
well,
be spotless and it wouldn't matter. I could be
yes.
spotless and it wouldn't matter. So I was sitting there thinking, and I don't know if I have any one single story that really takes the wow factor, but I do have a good handful of small stories that always make me chuckle whenever I think about them. And one of the first ones that come to mind was actually from boot camp itself. So during the course of Marine Corps boot camp, you have different inspections that occur through different phases of training. First, it's the I don't remember how the order of it even is, what they're even called now. So I'm gonna get roasted for this. But first is like your drill instructor inspection, where the drill instructors check over you, make sure uniforms are good, whatever. And then at the next stage of training, you have your unit commander. So usually it's a platoon, I think it is, platoon commander's inspection or something like that, or senior drill instructor, one of them, however they do it. Like I said, I don't remember. The details are starting to get fuzzy. It's been that long now. God, that makes me feel bad. But the final one that I always remember is the battalion commander's inspection, and that's the big one because that's where the big head honchos come down and look at your barracks and make sure that everything's clean. And one of the things that they do, because everybody's busy, right? We're all making sure that literally every little stray hair that floats around that floor of that squad bay is picked up and put in a trash can,
Toothbrush
We
cleaning.
we used to
Just
splash, don't ask me why, but we used to like they would make us get cologne when we would go to the PX because you had like one designated time a week where they'd cycle you through the PX and you get to use these little charge cards that have your money on it that you've been earning while you've been in boot camp. And the drill instructors make you buy stuff for the house, is what they call it. Hey, motherfucker, come here. You're gonna buy this for the house, right? Because there's supposed to be a certain allotment of supplies for each squad bay. But, through sticky fingers and resources being scarce, not every squad bay gets everything it's supposed to have. So, then the DIs will single one guy out, bring him over, and they'll be like, hey, listen, you're going to go buy 6 bottles of Bulldog 60, or yeah, it's like Bulldog 65 and Cobra 66, something like that. My homies out there know what I'm talking about. And there's these stupid little one's red labeled and one's blue labeled, and they'll make you buy like half a dozen of these things at a time. They're like 55 cents, and you dump them in, and then when you are cleaning and mopping, you open these things up and you pour cologne into your bucket of suds, and they call it smell good because it makes the squad bay
jeez.
smell good. Like,
Wow,
so
the
we
military really thought about that name.
let me tell you, there are so many things about the military. You want to know what they call tennis shoes in boot camp, just for funsies? Go fasters. Do you know why? Because they make you go faster. Like, they really, let me tell you, they really put a lot of thought into those names.
Like I know some of the things you've told me and like how strict they are. They couldn't have taken the time to think of something a little more clever while you were there,
You find
shoes
out,
are go fasters. Like,
yeah,
so I'm
your
not
head,
too.
your head is now a grape, or your dome. You no longer refer like a pen is now called an ink stick. A wall is a bulkhead, a window is a porthole, a door is a hatch, a bathroom is a head, lunch is chow. Like there's so many words that like it just gets essentially stitched into your brain one by one, and it's like this is that you will now know this thing by this name for the rest of your life whether you want to or not. And yes, we are 100% serious about this, so if you laugh in any way you're going to get your ass put in the dirt and you will learn. And it's just this weird mishmash of new words that they teach you, and you're like, yeah, that's a real clever name. Go faster. Let me put my go fasters on. But they're dead serious. Go put your go fasters on. That's what you call them, and you will not at all question that. But
For
anyways,
for me, I really wanted to make like a crayon eater joke because that just seems up that alley of
oh
like
yeah, that's
naming.
essentially why. I mean, big brain moves. We've got I mean, like our bases and our roads are named after people throughout our history, in like the Marine Corps history, I should say. But like when it comes to naming areas, like I was on Camp Pendleton in the 43 area. I was in the 43rd designated area of Camp Pendleton. Its name on Las Pulgas is like, oh, that's the area that they give it, but no, you're in the 43 area. When you order things to like for an address, you don't say, oh, come to Las Pulgas. You say area 43, building 52, and you're just like, wow, it's efficient. Like, what can I say? Yeah, man, ooh, building number 1243. All right, there we go. Like, so there's that whole aspect of it.
But
But
besides for smell good or whatever cleaning
right, that
supplies the Marines
walking
have,
it walking it all the way back to the cleaning story I had. Everyone is running around because we're at this battalion commander's inspection. And so the drill instructors are hounding us. Everything has to be perfect. Keep in mind, we've been in training for almost 3 months at this point. So we're well used to this hoop-de-doo. Now, one of the things is that they have little placards in the bathroom. It's like a urine chart, right? It's just be like, oh, if your pee is orange, drink water. And so they stick it on the tiles on top of each urinal, and because it's the military, everything has to be uniform and square. The problem is the drill instructors didn't know whether or not the cards were supposed to be like aligned with the bottom edge of the tile, so like you'd have the edge of the tile and then the card is touching it, or if the card is supposed to be centered in the tile on the wall. They weren't sure. And each of these squad buildings, right, if you look at it from above, it's shaped like a giant letter H. And each leg of the H is a different wing with it's 3 stories tall, and each wing has squads for that platoon as a whole. And so we are in this bottom right wing, and our sister platoon, 1023, is on the third floor. And so they grab this one kid. What was his name? I don't even remember
it
at this point,
it
but they
doesn't
grab
matter.
him and they tell him,
We'll call him Billy.
yeah, they grab Billy and they tell Billy and they said, hey, you're fast, right? You're like, you can run fast. Yes, sir. And it's like, good. You're going to run up to 23's deck. That's what they call the floors. They're like, so run up to 1023. Like, you're going to run up to 23's deck. You're going to sprint in their head. You're going to run around and you're going to look at how they have their placards and like everything aligned. And you're basically take a mental snapshot of that. And you're going to get your ass back down here and you're not going to get caught. Because, see, technically, he's not allowed to go on to other decks without a reason, right? Like, you have to walk onto the deck and announce a reason and talk
Oh
to their drill
boy.
instructors. So he can't get caught, you know what I mean? And so, they're about to send him out the door, like, hey, don't get caught, all right? Aye, sir. And, smacks him on the back, and he goes sprinting out the door. And as he goes sprinting out the door, he passes one of the other drill instructors who is just coming back in. And as this drill instructor comes back in, he looks at Billy as Billy's running by, and he goes, war cry the whole way. For those who don't know, if you've ever seen the scene from Full Metal Jacket, show me your war face. Ah, that's a war face. That's what they tell you to do. They'll just be like, war cry. And then you have to scream at the top of your lungs. And they'll do that randomly to you all throughout boot camp. So as Billy goes zipping by, this DI leans over and goes, war cry. And Billy just, as he goes sprinting up the stairs. And the other drill instructor, the first one, looks back at the second one because they know what they're doing, right? They're in sync. They know when they're messing with the kids. He looks at him and just gives him one of those bitch really face like I need him to come back with that information. You can't with him right now. So he just kind of I can see him smile slightly. He walks over to the door, looks out as Billy's running up the stairs and goes, shut up, you moron. And then you hear as he runs up the rest of the stairs. And like we're all sitting in there just trying not to break down laughing. And it's, oh my God, you're sitting there like, man, this part of the bed really needs a good scrubbing. Just, trying to like distract yourself from anything from that. So that was one of the funniest things that I remember from boot camp is just the way because he, no hesitancy in the scream either. It's just war cry. And he was out the door and gone. And that was it. It was like, oh my God. It's like all of this happened in the span of about 2 seconds. You didn't even have time to process what you were seeing. And oh my God.
So, did Billy get caught?
Billy did not get caught. Billy made it upstairs, sprinted in, came back down, reported to us. And, they were like, good work or whatever. Get away from me. And that was basically their way of saying, oh, good job. Nice work. You did well. And, I'm trying to think of any other times they might have done something like that to someone. But
Didn't
Billy was successful in his mission, at least.
There's one you told me a while ago and I kind of brought it up before were recording, that there was this cabinet that you had to stack a certain way, or some supplies, and you needed to do it a certain way, and then someone came in and just, I don't want to say it to give it away, but
You
or
might, you
should I?
might have, yeah, give it
The,
away for me.
you might have told me. I mean, this was a few years ago when you brought this up. I think it was one of the times came back when you were still enlisted.
Okay.
But you had to clean a certain room, and the way you were describing it, it was like shelves, and you had to stack them like exactly perfect, or like clean the room exactly perfect. And then some higher up came in, checked your work, said something, tore the whole thing down, and then said, "Now I want you to do it again," and just walked away.
I feel like that should have been something from boot camp, but I
Probably.
don't I don't have anything coming to mind right away.
I'm glad I can tell the people about your past military
in my in
experience.
my oh, this is gonna burn me now. I really can't think about what this is. The problem is you have too many of these experiences and then they start to overlap until eventually you forget about one altogether and it's just poof completely out of your mind. I feel like that definitely probably would have been something from boot camp because the DIs were in fact known for doing that. Like you would go through and like you put something together absolutely perfectly and then they'd come in and they'd be like, "Oh, out of place, huh?" And then they'd just wreck everything. Or like one time one of our recruits got a because I was in boot camp over Christmas and he got a whole box of candy and the drill instructors told him you can either throw it away or eat it all to yourself, but you can't share. They're like, we don't care if you eat it, but you have to keep it to yourself. And so he's like, okay, I'll eat it. Idiot, should have thrown it away. And he's sitting there eating it, and I guess one of the squad leaders sitting next to him like moved his hand or tried to do something, and I don't know what this guy thought he was trying to motion that he wanted a piece of candy or what, but he rolled it over or it rolled across the floor. And our senior drill instructor saw that, said, tight, tornado the house, And basically that means take your foot locker, unlock it, dump it upside down, take the blankets off the mattresses and flip the mattresses, and then the drill instructors would come in, they'd be like, everybody pick up your bed frames, and then you and your bunkmate would just go around, you'd pick up your bed frame, they'd be like, racks into the rain room, ready move, and then everybody would shuffle towards the showers, and then it'd be like, okay, 0, and then everybody'd stop, and then it'd be like, rats to the back of the squad bay, ready move, and then everybody'd shuffle the other, and they'd literally make us like dump all of our belongings everywhere, mess everything, and then they'd, when it all was said and done, they'd be like, wait, you got 10 minutes to clean this shit up or we're doing it again, and then bam, they'd slam the door and go in there, and then it was just a frenzy trying to get everything cleaned up in time, dude. You've never seen people move so fast to clean a room after they shut that damn door. Whoo! And
Uh,
then sometimes they'd come out early too if they knew you were going to beat the time limit. So that was bullshit. But what could we do to stop it?
um, yeah, I guess my only cleaning story was that one. Like, the rest is just like the boring, regular cleaning nonsense. Um,
The huge.
I got one, and it's not. It wasn't really
I,
cleaning. It was pretending like we cleaned.
to be fair, I think a solid 85% of my last two stories weren't about cleaning. So
Kinda.
take the floor.
Um, so this was at one of the jobs I worked. It's kind of like a warehouse setting. I won't say where, but Ian, you can figure it out. Uh, so what the company would want us to do is take pictures of certain areas and like make sure it's clean. So we had like an upper mezzanine area where all of the seasonal stuff and would come through just so for storage. And there was one time they wanted pictures. Up in the mezzanine area, we had it loaded with pallets all along the floor everywhere. They're like, we need those pictures in like 3 days or whatever. So then we get told that, and my manager, uh, he went to work on it right away. I went up to help him, and what he was doing, he took a pallet jack, went under the pallets, moved the pallets, took a picture, moved the pallets back in the spot where he took the pictures, and did that the whole way.
Oh, you gotta love the ingenuity of it.
And that was a ongoing theme. That's what they did all the time.
Nice. That's the stuff you love to see. Yep, here. See? All done. Completed. I gotcha.
The problem is when they would actually come to the store, and then it's like, okay, we
Then that
need to
actually
make these
see.
disappear.
It's like, all right, time to actually make this disappear. Yeah, I've had my fair share of making things disappear and or reappear, I should say. The military's got quite a few stories of that, but maybe I'll save those for another video, right?
Yeah,
One where we maybe go a little bit more in depth. But I know all about that culture.
yeah.
I
But
forgot to look up a quote.
I
I
did
forgot to
too.
look up a quote.
Yeah, that's not different from any other episode we do.
It
Um,
really isn't. Why was I on the MnDOT website? Interesting. I'm,
um,
I appear to be an intellectual, I see. Need to do automotive business. Philosophy. I'm going to look up a quote on philosophy. I
okay.
know this is super cheap to be looking up quotes while we're on camera,
I'm
but I have no shame.
I got a cleaning quote by Phyllis Diller. I don't know if this is good or not. I just kind of glanced over it.
Found it.
Cleaning your house while your kids are still growing up is like shoveling the walk before it stops snowing.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
What's
I
your
got
philosophical quote of the episode?
Mine is by Norman MacLean. Mm. Slowly we became silent, and silence itself is an enemy to friendship. That was
Philosophical.
boring. The best things in life are crazy. Emmy Emmy Rollins. I don't know.
Solid.
I don't know.
But thank you for BSing with us. If you have anything you want us to talk about, comment down below and we will get to it. But subscribe and follow to become a bud today. We'll see you next time when Billy comes back with
With more cologne to put in the suds bucket.
when he has his go fasters on and he's has
With
the
his go fasters on.
smell
He did
good.
have his go fasters on with the smell good. But until the next time, you just take her easy now.